orchestrated and fake and like the ultimate PR stunt to change public perception, I think she loses a lot of people. Meghan Markle really isn't reinventing.
Meghan Markle once stood on palace balconies beside the Queen, commanding global attention. But now she's fighting for a simple Instagram tag from Khloé Kardashian and losing. What was meant to be a glamorous PR move with her wine brand turned into a brutal Hollywood snub, with Khloé's silence speaking louder than any words. Gossip blogs called it calculated shade, TikTok turned it into a joke, and whispers spread that Khloé saw Meghan as nothing but fake. The question now is, how did a duchess go from royal power to chasing Kardashian clout?
These flower sprinkles, it was weeks after the release of the show when all of the hype died down, that you could actually buy that product on as ever. So season 2 is really important to Netflix and Meghan Markle.
You know how in real life, if someone ignores your text, it stings? Well, in Kardashian world, a missing tag on Instagram is basically the same thing, except 100 times louder and 1,000 times more humiliating. That's what Meghan Markle just walked straight into. Khloé Kardashian posted Meghan's carefully curated wine basket on her Instagram story. But here's the catch: no tag, no mention, no thank you girl, love this. Just a picture tossed up like it was some random background prop. And in Hollywood, where every tag is money, power, and status, Khloé's silence was screaming. The internet saw it instantly. To the Kardashian-obsessed crowd, this wasn't a slip-up. It was shade, polished, intentional shade. Within hours, gossip accounts on TikTok and Instagram started tearing it apart. Clips popped up with captions like, "Khloé said thanks, but no thanks," and "Meghan Markle begging for clout." People couldn't stop dissecting the post, zooming in on the fact that Khloé didn't even bother to place the wine bottle front and center. It was shoved between a random snack and a candle. That's how little she cared. And when Khloé doesn't care, the whole world notices. Some influencers even joked that Khloé posting it untagged was her way of putting Meghan in her place. Like, thanks, but you're not in this league. And here's where it gets messy. Hollywood insiders started whispering that Khloé's silence wasn't just indifference, it was deliberate. Think about it. Khloé knows how powerful her posts are. She knows when she tags a product, it blows up in sales. She's made unknown brands into household names with a single swipe. So if she chose not to tag Meghan's wine, that wasn't an accident. It was a decision. A decision that basically said, I see what you're trying to do, but I'm not co-signing it. And that's when the word fake started buzzing. People began speculating that Khloé thought Meghan's move was too staged, too thirsty, too desperate. And honestly, the more you look at it, the more it feels like Khloé might have been sending a message. She's been in the influencer game forever. She can smell a forced PR stunt from a mile away. Some gossip blogs even claimed Khloé rolled her eyes when the basket arrived, like, oh great, Meghan's team is trying to buy their way into our world. And you know how brutal the Kardashians can be when they think someone's faking it. They built their empire on controlling the narrative. Every tag, every caption, every collab is calculated. So when Khloé went silent, it wasn't neutral. It was a rejection dressed up as a casual post. Fans picked up on it too. Comment sections blew up with speculation. Some wrote, if Khloé wanted to support, she would have tagged. Others went further, saying this was Khloé's subtle way of calling Meghan out as inauthentic. And that's the ultimate insult in Kardashian culture. Because while people love to mock them for being superficial, the truth is, they're masters at selling authenticity, at least the Instagram version of it. Meghan, on the other hand, looked like she was trying too hard to belong. And nothing screams outsider louder than trying too hard in Hollywood.
Where she's going to use product that you can see on the screen and immediately run over to your computer or use your cell phone and try to...
Now here's where the whole thing takes a turn from embarrassing to downright scandalous. Because as bad as the missing tag was, the whispers that started floating around afterward made it 10 times juicier. Hollywood gifting circles are brutal, and word spreads faster than wildfire. The tea, that basket Meghan sent to Khloé, might not have even been meant for her in the first place. Some insiders are swearing up and down that Meghan's team sent baskets to multiple Kardashians, scattershot style, just hoping that one of them would bite. And if that's true, then Khloé's little Instagram story may have been the leftover hand-me-down from one of her sisters who didn't even want it. Think about how savage that is for a second. In normal life, if someone regifts a candle or a bottle of wine, it's kind of awkward but forgivable. But in celebrity culture, it's a slap in the face. It basically says, "This isn't valuable enough for me, but maybe you'll find it useful." Imagine Meghan, who once stood on royal balconies, unknowingly reduced to the equivalent of an unwanted party favor. That's the level of humiliation we're talking about here. And let's be real, if there's any family in the world that knows how to send a message without saying a word, it's the Kardashians. And here's the kicker. People started speculating about which sister passed it down. Some fans guessed it was Kim, pointing out that she's far too savvy to post anything without a contract attached. Others thought it could have been Kourtney, who is notorious for being picky and already has her own lifestyle brand that competes with anything in Meghan's curated world. A few even said Kylie, who has her own alcohol collabs lined up, wouldn't touch Meghan's wine with a 10-foot pole. So, what happens when the gift no one wanted ends up in Khloé's hands? She posts it out of politeness, doesn't tag, and just like that, Meghan's whole PR plan crumbles in front of millions. The regifting theory spread like wildfire online. Gossip accounts were practically foaming at the mouth. Memes started popping up, people joking that Meghan's basket had been passed around Calabasas, like a bad Christmas present. One snarky comment that went viral read, "Next stop, Kris Jenner's garage sale." And honestly, the idea stuck because it felt too believable. In Hollywood, where everything is strategic, the thought that Meghan's luxury basket didn't even make the A-list cut was devastating to her image. It turned her from the Duchess of Sussex into the Duchess of Desperation. But here's where I think it gets even more interesting. Some PR insiders suggested the regifting rumor didn't just happen randomly. It was planted. That's right. There's speculation that someone inside Kardashian world deliberately let that little piece of gossip slip, just to twist the knife. Because if Meghan thought she could ride their coattails, the Kardashians wanted to make it clear. Not only are you not in the club, but you're the kind of person whose gifts get passed around like leftovers. And that's a narrative Meghan's team can't spin away easily. Meghan's damage control move. Here's the thing about Meghan Markle. She hates to lose face. So when Khloé Kardashian's silent snub went viral, Meghan's team moved into full-on scramble mode. And the way she tried to spin it, honestly, it made things look even worse. Instead of ignoring the whole fiasco and letting it die down, Meghan actually reposted Khloé's story to her own social media like it was a massive win. No mention of the missing tag, no hint that everyone could see the shade. Just fake excitement as if Khloé had fully endorsed her wine brand. It was the social media version of clapping for yourself, and trust me, the internet noticed. Fans, critics, and gossip bloggers all caught the vibe instantly. People started mocking her for being delusional and acting like a breadcrumb was a full meal. One comment that blew up on Twitter said, "Meghan really reposted her own rejection and thought we wouldn't notice?" TikTok creators made skits reenacting the whole thing. Meghan pretending to sip her wine while Khloé rolls her eyes off camera. It was brutal, but it was also hilarious in that way Hollywood scandals always are. The fact that Meghan herself jumped in to try to twist the narrative showed just how desperate she was to salvage the moment. And here's the scandalous part. PR insiders started whispering that Meghan's team had actually reached out to Khloé privately, begging her to at least tag the brand if she reposted again. The word begging is harsh, but in this town, perception is everything. And if the Kardashians thought she was pleading for clout, that's career suicide. Of course, Khloé never budged. She didn't delete the post, but she didn't add a tag either. That silence became its own kind of rejection. And Meghan's attempt to spin the shade into support only made the power imbalance more obvious. But Meghan didn't stop there. Her camp reportedly tried to flood the press with good news stories about her wine brand, leaking numbers about thousands of bottles sold, triple-digit growth, and a wave of returning customers. On paper, it sounded impressive. But when you looked closer, even those stats were shaky. The so-called sellout was partial, the returning customer rate barely average. And everyone knows that if you're still pushing scarcity tactics months after launch, it usually means one thing: people aren't buying. Gossip blogs weren't fooled. They called it exactly what it was: damage control dressed up as success. And let's not forget Meghan's own role in all this. For someone who has built her whole brand around authenticity and empowerment, she didn't even look like a fan of her own wine. People started asking, Why doesn't Meghan ever drink it? She wasn't posting with it in her kitchen. She wasn't spotted sipping it at events. She wasn't even faking it in casual selfies. The Kardashians, meanwhile, are masters of this game. When Kylie launches a lip kit, she's wearing it the next day. When Kim drops a new Skims line, she's draped in it head to toe. Meghan's silence about her own product only made the damage control look faker.
It doesn't always work out the way she wants it to. Season 2 was filmed alongside season 1, so if you weren't impressed with the first season, don't expect a sudden evolution.
The irony here is wild. Meghan has always claimed she doesn't care about fame or influencer culture. She said she wanted privacy, she wanted authenticity. She wanted to escape the toxicity of the spotlight. And yet here she was, reposting Khloé Kardashian's untagged story like it was a royal endorsement. Fans who once defended her every move started scratching their heads. If Meghan truly didn't care about clout, why was she acting like a tag or lack of one was life or death for her brand? And the speculation didn't stop there. Some insiders believe Meghan's repost was actually aimed more at investors than fans. By resharing Khloé's story, she could make it look like her wine brand was Kardashian approved, even if the truth was the opposite. If that's true, it wasn't just desperation, it was strategy. A risky, borderline manipulative strategy, but strategy nonetheless. The problem? Investors read gossip blogs too, and they know when a PR stunt has flopped.
The perception of this woman, there's not a lot of upside for her. She is not going to become Martha Stewart. She's not going to become anyone who transitioned to a lifestyle maven.
The whole thing goes from embarrassing to downright tragic, because Meghan Markle wasn't always supposed to be here, begging for an Instagram tag like a random influencer. This is a woman who once stood on the Buckingham Palace balcony next to Queen Elizabeth, waving at crowds of thousands. She once sat across from Oprah, dropping bombshells that shook the monarchy to its core. But now, she's chasing clout in Calabasas, trying to sneak her way into Kardashian culture with a wine basket. If that doesn't scream how far she's fallen in Hollywood's eyes, I don't know what does. The wildest part is the contradiction. Meghan spent years branding herself as someone above the celebrity game. Remember how she said she didn't leave royal life for fame? She claimed she wanted privacy, to protect her family, to focus on meaningful projects about equality and mental health. That was the story, the image, the polished persona. But if you really wanted privacy and dignity, why are you sending influencer baskets to Khloé Kardashian? Why are you playing the same Instagram game you once acted like you were too classy for? It's like going from lecturing at the UN to begging for a repost from someone whose main claim to fame is reality TV drama. And Hollywood noticed the shift. Insiders started whispering that Meghan was trying to leapfrog her way into Kardashian validation instead of building her brand the hard way. The Kardashians grind nonstop. They film, they post, they hustle, they push their products every single day. Meghan, on the other hand, has moments of big headlines. Netflix, Spotify, Oprah. But then she disappears, expecting the hype to carry her. That doesn't work in this world. People said the basket move was proof that she was cutting corners, hoping Kardashian clout would do the heavy lifting for her wine brand. And Khloé's silence basically exposed her shortcut for what it was. Even fans who loved Meghan couldn't defend this one. Twitter and TikTok were full of comments like, "Why is Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, acting like a wannabe influencer?" Some even said she looked like she was cosplaying the Kardashian lifestyle instead of owning her own lane. And that's the brutal reality. Once you look like you're chasing someone else's relevance instead of setting your own, Hollywood eats you alive. Meghan didn't look like a visionary or a disruptor anymore. She looked like someone desperate to be noticed. The Kardashians didn't make it any easier either. Every time Meghan's brand looked shaky, they were out there pushing their own products like machines. Khloé casually wears Good American in her selfies. Kim floods her feed with Skims. Kylie posts entire tutorials using her makeup. That constant grind keeps their brands at the top. Meghan, by comparison, looked like she wanted a shortcut. One basket to Khloé, and boom, instant clout. But when the tag never came, it just made the lack of grind even more obvious.
She might have only received the basket secondhand, a regift. Imagine it. Meghan's carefully orchestrated Hollywood inroad reduced to a hand-me-down. That's not just a failed stunt.
Meghan probably didn't expect the snub didn't just live on Instagram or TikTok, it bled straight into the Hollywood Whisper network. And if you've ever paid attention to how this town works, you know the whispers are way more powerful than any headline. When the Kardashians send a message, whether it's through a tag or through silence, agents, managers, publicists, and investors all get the memo loud and clear. And Khloé's refusal to tag Meghan's wine brand? That memo read, "Meghan doesn't have the juice." Within days, gossip insiders claimed that the story was being dissected in Beverly Hills power lunches and behind closed doors in PR offices. One entertainment blogger even joked that Meghan's basket had become the hottest topic in every Brentwood coffee shop. That sounds like an exaggeration, but honestly, in Hollywood, these things matter. A missed tag might seem silly to the outside world, but in this industry, it signals something bigger: credibility, or lack of it. Khloé's silence wasn't just shade. It was a warning sign to the industry that Meghan wasn't worth betting on. And let's be real, the Kardashians are basically the gatekeepers of influencer marketing. If they want you in their orbit, you're in. But if they keep you at arm's length, everyone else follows suit. Suddenly, Meghan's wine brand, which was supposed to look aspirational and luxe, looked desperate and uninvited. Executives started asking if Meghan had real influence or if she was just relying on her Duchess title to sell bottles. Investors, always cautious, started to question whether her star power had already peaked. That's the dangerous thing about Hollywood. Relevance isn't just about the public, it's about what insiders think behind the scenes. And here's the spicy part. Some whispers claimed Khloé's silence wasn't just a passive move, it was an intentional statement. Word going around was that Khloé, and maybe even Kris Jenner, didn't buy Meghan's authentic act. They saw the basket stunt as a calculated move, not a genuine connection, and in their world, that equals fake. And if Kris Jenner thinks you're fake, forget it. She's not letting you anywhere near the Kardashian brand ecosystem. Meghan, who once carefully positioned herself as a symbol of empowerment and authenticity, suddenly had a cloud of doubt hanging over her. And in this business, doubt kills faster than scandal.
She doesn't have original ideas. The only thing she was selling was the royal family was so racist toward me. That only plays for so long.
It didn't help that Meghan's own fans seemed uneasy. Normally, her supporters rallied to her defense online. But this time, even they struggled. Some defended her, saying Khloé was being petty, but others admitted the optics were bad. When your entire identity is built on being above the noise, above the drama, above the influencer culture, and then you're caught begging for Kardashian validation, it doesn't look good. And insiders knew it. Gossip accounts hinted that Meghan's reputation had shifted from power player to try hard overnight. The whispers only grew nastier as time went on. Some said the Kardashians were laughing at Meghan behind the scenes, calling her the Duchess who wanted to be an influencer. Others speculated that Meghan's PR team had burned bridges by trying to spin the snub into a win, which made her look even more desperate. And let's not forget, this is an industry where perception becomes reality. The more people whispered that Meghan was fake, the more everyone started to believe it. By the time the rumor mill had chewed through every angle, Meghan's wine brand wasn't the story anymore. Meghan herself was, the woman who once seemed untouchable, who once dictated headlines with every move, was suddenly the butt of the joke. In a town where influence means sales, virality, and cultural dominance, Meghan looked like she had none of the above. And Hollywood insiders are ruthless. Once they sense weakness, they move on fast. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.